Listen,
Mad as
Tony
kids.
Tony wouldn't let me live polygamy, so I can't have sister wives to rely on for multiple kids, which means the closest thing I have is cousins for my kids, okay?
Yeah, no polygamy.
When Mykelti folded the final box of baby toys and zipped her daughter's hoodie for the drive to their new home, she didn't anticipate that the clouds would roll in like smoke on a battlefield. The relocation was meant to signal a new beginning with Tony. But what they didn't understand was that this wasn't a simple move from one home to another. It was a metaphor for the whole Brown family falling apart, one broken box and shattered trust at a time. Outside, the Arizona sky darkened. Inside the vehicle, tensions were simmering. And far away, back in Flagstaff, Kody and Robyn sat with an agent, making choices that would set off a different kind of storm. Because the reality is, this family was never about homes, it was about who was invited in. Christine stood at the entrance of the moving truck, arms folded, sunglasses firmly in place. She was smiling, but only because the camera was not on. This wasn't just her daughter's new house. This was another exit strategy. Another line drawn between what was and what could never be again. "Mykelti," she said, "don't you want to ride out the storm?" Mykelti's voice from inside the garage replied with a laugh. "Mom, we survived 7 seasons of family drama. I am sure we can manage a bit of thunder." They both giggled, but they both knew better. Janelle rolled up next, arriving in a silver SUV. She was battered, not exhausted, but stretched to the limit from weeks of court appearances, asset freezes, and Robyn's crocodile tears. She wasn't here to censure, she was here to lift boxes, couches, spirits. It was what she'd always done. "Mykelti," Janelle grinned, hugging her hard. "Tony in there." "Yeah, he is fixing the pantry already," Mykelti replied. "He is convinced we're going to get struck by lightning if we hurry up." Christine's eyebrow went up. "We are." "Look at the clouds." Mykelti shrugged. "Good, let everything burn." They all stood there for a moment, the kind of silence that says more than a whole monologue, because they weren't just talking about the weather anymore. Meanwhile, across town, the tension was more quiet, but no less violent. Kody sat at the far end of the long glass conference table, hands steepled, eyes darting between Robyn and the Realtor. "So," the Realtor began, carefully placing a leather-bound packet in front of them, "you're thinking about listing the house this year?" Kody nodded. Robyn didn't. "Well, yes," said Kody. "Maybe. We just want to check out what is available, what the market's indicating." Robyn spoke up at last, and her tone was taut. "We're not doing anything precipitous. This house it is sacred." Kody did not glance at her. The Realtor smiled in a dignified way. Of course, just browsing. But the subtext in the room was more dense than the air outside. Today, this was not about square footage. It wasn't about property taxes or school districts. It was about escaping consequences, because if the court ruled the way everyone feared it might, they wouldn't own this house for long. Back at Mykelti's new place, the storm had broken. Rain came down in sheets, soaking half-packed furniture and leaving streaks on the windows. But no one complained. Not Christine, not Janelle, not even Tony, who had a toddler on one hip and a soggy rug under the other. "You ever think," Tony asked Christine as he set down the rug, "that all of the stuff we're carrying, the weight, the boxes, it is not just physical?" Christine arched an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" He grinned, maybe that we've all been packing emotional junk for 20 years. "And now we're just unloading it into nicer houses," Christine smirked. "Yay, but at least this house has a real foundation." Outside, Mykelti stood on the porch, soaked but smiling. She wasn't just moving in, she was moving on. We cut to past seasons. Kody standing in an empty lot in Coyote Pass, arms wide, claiming one house, one family, one dream. Cut to Christine by herself on a mattress. Mary sobbing in a driveway, Robyn gripping blueprints while the others clutched shattered hearts. Then back to the present. The Coyote Pass dream is being foreclosed on. The court froze all trust activity. And that so-called family vision, it is lost in boxes and court documents. Inside Robyn's purse, her phone rang. Christine, one missed call, Janelle text message. "You might want to see this." Lawyer voicemail, she didn't respond to any of them. She turned to Kody, her voice a mere whisper. "Are we going to lose everything?" He didn't respond, because even he didn't know what was next. And what was next wasn't a court decision, it was a reckoning. The screen opens to a darkened bedroom. Christine is there alone. No camera crew, no lights, just her iPhone resting against a pile of books. It is a bad old habit, a video journal she began years ago when nobody believed what she did, so she sighs, presses record, and talks. The 4th of October, 2025, Mykelti and Tony are officially settled in. I should be proud, but today, I discovered something, and it is not just strange, it is frightening. She swallows hard. Robyn received an envelope that was supposed to be filed with the court. I only know because I heard her on the phone with someone, likely her attorney. She referred to it as untraceable. She leans in. Kody doesn't know, or maybe he does, but either way, someone's lying again. And this time, I am finished being silent. She stops recording, and that is when we know this episode is not about unloading boxes. It is about unloading truths. Across town, in the warmly lit dining room of the Brown family house, Robyn stands immobilized. In her hand, a closed manila envelope, unmarked, no return address. In it, a letter, a legal form, an attachment stamped with the words Supplemental Custody Agreement, Fugan, not filed. She reads it once, then twice. And on the bottom, one name catches her breath, David Woolley, Christine's fiancé. He was filing a claim not for money, but for protective interest over Mykelti's daughter. In the event that the court deems Kody unfit, Robyn's hands begin to shake. This isn't just about property now, it's about who gets to call themselves a father. She folds the paper, tucks it back in the envelope, and slips it into the fire. Flames lick the truth into ash. Back at Mykelti and Tony's house, it's nearly midnight. Boxes still line the hallway. Half the kitchen is unpacked. Their daughter is sleeping upstairs, but Tony, he is down in the crawl space, flashlight in hand, sweat on his forehead. Why now? Mykelti calls down from above. I dropped my charger, he says. But there is something strange down here, a beat of silence. Then, babe, stop, Mykelti, take a look at this. She kneels next to the gaping floor vent. Tony holds up a shoebox, small, dusty, and bound in an elastic ribbon, covered in a plastic supermarket bag. Inside, photocopies of medical records, a check stub to Lebaron Private Counseling Services, and one last page, a note written in Robyn's handwriting. If this ever comes out, he'll lose everything. Tell Mary it was a clinic mistake. Burn after reading. Mykelti's face goes white. She knows that name. Lebaron was Mary's grandmother's name. And she'd used it once before as a pseudonym for a bank account. Christine pulls up her laptop, heart pounding. She opens the folder titled Coyote Docs T Private. Inside, she references the counseling clinic name with the court documents from Mary's earlier DNA case. And there it is, a single, recurring wire transfer every month from the Brown Family Trust to Lebaron Private Counseling, starting in 2011. Christine whispers to herself, that's the year Mary gave birth. And just like that, it clicks. The eggplants. They weren't just a metaphor from Tony's joke earlier, they were the symbol used in old shared expense folders for sensitive items. And guess who created that system? Robyn. Just before midnight, a phone buzzes on the nightstand. It's Janelle. She's scrolling through old Gmail archives, desperate to make sense of the tangled financials she's been pulled into ever since Mary's DNA truth exploded. And then, buried deep in an email chain between Kody, Robyn, and their former accountant, if Mary ever pushes back, use the eggplant expenses. Tell her she signed off on them. She won't jeopardize the family reputation. Janelle covers her mouth, because now there is no doubt about it. They'd created a second paper trail, one that encrypted deceit with fruit emojis, one that concealed a kidnapped child, a fabricated trust, and years of deception. And it was all coming tumbling down. It began as a joke. Back in 2016, when Robyn started color-coding family spreadsheets with emojis, no one raised an eyebrow. Eggplant was simply a grocery category, a sign of Christine's casseroles or Kody's vegan flop. Anyway, the punchline failed to hold up, because Eggplant Fund, recently found in a flagged TLC financial audit, wasn't about groceries. It was about leverage. Christine sits at her kitchen table, laptop open, her brow furrowed. Janelle is on speaker. This folder, Christine growls, scrolling through old files, was titled Eggplant Plan, Suvari version 3.0. Janelle snorts. You mean to tell me they were naming fraud after vegetables? Christine's voice is cold. Worse, they were using it to hide payments to private investigators. Pause. What kind of investigators? Christine clicks a file. Her screen freezes briefly, then loads. Child and Family Stability Monitoring Thugan payment received $5,000. Date. the 3rd of January 2022. Reason, surveillance, possible leverage on Mary's mental status. Janelle exhales sharply. They were building a case against her. Christine nodded, whispering, they planned this for years. Mary gets a visitor Flagstaff, 8:47 p.m. Mary is alone in her kitchen, the very spot where she used to cook for 5 children, 3 sister wives, and a husband who could hardly meet her gaze. The house is quiet now, too quiet. There is a knock on the door. She opens it carefully. No cameras tonight. A courier stands there, clipboard in hand. For Mary Brown, she signs. He gives her a small navy blue envelope with a golden seal. No return address. No postmark for no explanation. She opens it gradually. Inside, a picture of her son. A birth certificate with Robyn's name scratched out in pencil, and a sticky note with a single sentence, "We knew, we're sorry." There's no name. No signature, but she knows who sent it. Because there's one woman who once believed Mary without proof, Mary Ann, Kody's aunt, who vanished from the show after season 12 and hadn't been heard from since. Until now, Christine confronts Robyn. Alone, Christine doesn't ring the bell. She doesn't text. She just arrives. Robyn opens the door with puffy cheeks and a shaky voice. "Christine, please, I am." Christine enters without invitation. "You had decades to confess. I am not here to hear it." Robyn stutters. "You don't understand the stress I was under, Kody. He instructed me to." Christine smashes a printed page on the table. Eggplant fund. $5,000 to a private investigator to tail Mary. Not me. Not Kody. Mary Robyn's voice drops to a whisper. "I had no idea where the money was going." Christine hovers closer, ice in her tone. "You signed the checks." Robyn's knees weaken slightly. Undefined, she grabs for the counter. "I believed it was wellness audits." Undefined believed. You believed if you kept your eyes closed long enough, the guilt would magically go away. Christine bites out. Undefined, well, guess what? She walks away, then stops. "Oh, and one more thing." Christine slams a USB drive onto the table. It contains your voice on it. Undefined signing off on each transfer. Undefined each falsehood. Every manipulation. The only thing I haven't done with it yet is hit play in court. And with that, she walks out. Back inside the courthouse, Judge Halverson finishes reading the latest document from Mary's camp. His face is blank. Then he speaks, due to new financial disclosures involving the so-called Eggplant Fund and subsequent identity misrepresentation. The court will call a new witness to testify in session 4. A beat. Then, former TLC network associate producer Delia Grant. The gallery gasps. Robyn's jaw drops. Kody whispers, "No, not her." Because Delia Grant wasn't just a producer. She was the one who designed the early episode storyboards and the one who witnessed behind the lenses, who was genuine and who was rewriting facts. When Delia Grant appeared in the courtroom, even the judge breathed a little harder. She didn't appear as a whistleblower. She appeared to be someone who had kept too many secrets for too long. Trench coat that reached to her ankles, minimum makeup. A flash drive to her hand. Christine whispered to Janelle, "That is her. That is the one from the Flagstaff set. She used to mic us." Robyn's hand clutched the edge of the chair. Kody didn't even glance at Delia. The judge spoke to the room. "Miss Grant, you've been working with the Sister Wives production crew since 2011. Can you identify your position?" Delia nodded. "I was a story editor, after that a junior field producer. My task was to review behind-the-scenes material, interview family members, and assist TLC in how to present the story." "And did you ever observe or record behavior that was excluded from the network or public?" Delia didn't flinch. "Yes, and I have evidence." The lights went down as a screen descended above the judge's bench. Delia passed the court clerk the USB. "It is 2017, she explained. A deleted scene from the shoot on the Flagstaff house. The video was never broadcast. The screen hums. And then we see them, Kody, Robyn, and the family accountant sitting around the kitchen island. Kody's voice is quiet but distinct. "If Mary ever tries to resist, we release the mental health aspect. We tell her she needed space, counseling, therapy. The eggplant money is all paid for. Nobody's going to investigate." Robyn nods. "It is better this way. She won't fight if she thinks she signed everything." Then silence, then laughter. "We'll call it protecting the brand," Kody says, tapping the countertop. The video ends. The courtroom explodes. Christine stands. He used her trauma as a PR tool. Janelle's hands cover her mouth, shaking her head. Mary's eyes stay locked on the screen. Not shocked, just numb. Robyn finally stands. No, this isn't what it looks like. That video was edited. Her lawyer tugs at her sleeve. Robyn, sit down. But Robyn shoves aside the table and makes a dash for the door. I didn't know it would go this far, she exclaims. She leaves the courtroom. No one accompanies her. Not even Kody. The judge speaks to Kody. Do you deny the authenticity of this video? Kody shakes his head. I don't recall saying it like that. Is that a denial, Mr. Brown? Kody doesn't respond. The judge bangs the gavel. This court now deems this case escalated to formal fiscal and custodial examination. We are holding all remaining payments, asset transfer, and legal guardianship position in abeyance until the final decision. Mary's nails bite into her notebook. Christine clutches the bench so tight her knuckles turn white, and Delia. She sits down, silent, spent, but free, because secrets only have power when no one says them out loud. After the judge leaves, Christine gets up slowly and speaks to the gallery. No cameras, just raw truth. You told the world we were one family, she says, her voice shaking. But behind the scenes, you buried us in lies. You told Mary she was unstable. You told me I was dramatic. You told Janelle she was cold. And then you made Robyn your queen and the rest of us vanished. She faces Kody. But you made one mistake. Pause. We don't keep silent forever. The doors open and time stops. Delia Grant, the former youngest producer on the original Sister Wives pilot team, enters the courtroom like a ghost, returning to haunt its own home. Her face is impassive, but there is a solemnness in her movements. She is not only holding a flash drive, she is holding a decade of quiet watching, of moments never shown, of realities never seen beyond the edit room. Christine meets her eyes. For an instant, there is recognition between them. Robyn bristles, Kody's jaw tightens. The judge greets her. Miss Grant, do you understand your testimony here today is going to be entered into the public record under oath? I do, Delia responds. Her tone is gentle but audible. She sets the flash drive on the table as though it is a piece of evidence in a crime scene. This is footage from several seasons, she tells them. A lot of it was labeled sensitive and taken out at the request of executive producers. But I had copies because I knew one day someone would be in need of them. She looks toward Mary. Especially her. The courtroom projector flickers on. Everyone's breath is taken away. Robyn and Kody sit opposite the family's accountant. Kody is walking back and forth. Look, if Mary resists, we say it was during the counseling period. We spin it. Say the counselor set a clean break. Nobody's going to question that. Robyn nods. We already have the wellness account in place. All the payments go through that. Call it Eggplant Wellness Initiative. Make it sound natural. They both laugh. Christine gasps in the courtroom. Mary is sobbing. Sometimes I feel like I am vanishing, like I am just a bother. I tried to question Kody about the trust. He told me, you are too emotional to be included in that right now. 2021 Sovereign behind the scenes in Robyn's office. Robyn speaking into her phone. I don't care what she thinks she signed. It is filed. The trust is ours now, Kody promised. The lights return. Delia sits, face blank. Mary's hand is shaking in her lap. Christine is frozen, mouth a little open. The silence is shattered by one voice. I didn't know, Robyn whispers. But it doesn't matter. The courtroom has seen enough. Janelle turns toward Kody, her voice low and venomous. You gaslit her, for years. Kody doesn't respond. The judge bangs the gavel. This court hereby escalates this case to formal financial and custodial review. All asset movement is suspended. All contracts entered under the Brown family trust are now frozen. Robyn rises suddenly. No, wait, please. I didn't get all of it. You have to believe me. She turns to Kody, clutches his sleeve. Tell them it wasn't just me. Kody pushes away. And Robyn exits. The judge glances at Kody. Mr. Brown, do you want to respond to the tape? Kody's tone is arid. What do you want me to say? That I did it? He faces Mary. I told myself I was doing it for the family. That if we just made it through that year, if we made the brand solid, we could repair it later. He glanced back at the judge. There is no repairing this now. Christine emits a noise, half laugh, half sob. Christine strides across the room. No one restrains her. Not the bailiff, not the judge. She glares into the gallery. Then the cameras. You saw us on television. You thought you saw a family, but what you saw was a production edited, controlled, sanitized. She points to Mary. She was erased, not gently, not by choice, but by people she trusted. Then to Robyn's vacant seat. And the woman who replaced her. She didn't just steal a husband, she stole a child, a legacy. Christine's voice cracks. But we're done hiding. We're done defending the lie, she confronts the judge. Thank you for giving us what the show never did. A voice, Judge Halverson, rises. In light of the evidence introduced in this session, the court is making formal referrals to the Flagstaff District Attorney. Fraud, misrepresentation, and unlawful suppression of identity will be investigated. He turns to Mary. And you, Mrs. Brown, are rightfully reinstalled as the lawful parent on record. He bangs the gavel. This court is adjourned. Final montage aftermath. Christine emerges into the sunlight outside the courthouse, hand in hand with Janelle. No words, just peace. Mary goes to the ridge at Coyote Pass alone. But this time, she is smiling. Robyn watches the footage play out on the news. Her image on the screen resembles more of a stranger than the woman she attempted to be. Kody sits alone in his truck. No ring, no cameras, just silence. And in the last shot, Delia sends a letter. A plain envelope, too, the child who deserved the truth. It was never about eggplants, really. That term was merely the tip, a code, a cover-up, a spark. This installment bursts with courtroom drama, hidden audio, financial tampering, and most incredibly of all, the revelation of a secret child. When Mary Brown presents conclusive DNA proof, everything the Browns constructed in 20 years is put into question. TLC cameras documented the tip. This courtroom. It is capturing the truth. The courtroom door creaked open like something from a drama script. But this wasn't fiction. It was Delia Grant. Her return felt biblical. A reckoning in a beige trench coat. The judge's gaze followed her every step. She was no longer the behind-the-scenes production assistant that brought coffee to producers. She was the key witness. In her hand, a single USB drive. Mary's knuckles whitened. Christine breathed softly. That is her, the one who overheard the basement fight. Janelle relaxed her breathing. The tension was palpable. The screen sprang to life, and for the first time, the courtroom was a movie. But no one munched popcorn. They steeled themselves. In grainy definition, we witnessed Kody, Robyn, a family accountant. Kody sat forward. If Mary fights back, we release the therapy sessions. Spin it. Declare she is unstable, the eggplant funds. Say she signed off. Robyn whispered, we need to keep her distracted. Make it about her health, not the money. Then, silence, Kody finally muttered. We're protecting the brand. Laughter followed. Dry, controlled, sinister. The screen went black. The room didn't. It burst into chaos. Christine slammed her hand on the bench. You used her breakdown. Janelle gasped openly. Mary stood, not hysterically, not angrily, but with cold calculation. Do you know, she said in a little voice, I did think I was losing my mind. And you made sure of it. Kody struggled to speak. Nothing emerged. Then Robyn collapsed. She stood, stumbled toward the gallery. I didn't know it would go this far, she screamed. Her voice cracked with something too raw to be a performance. She wasn't sobbing for Mary. She was sobbing because she had been caught. She fled the courtroom. Her stilettos clicked behind her like a fleeing Hamlet. The judge's tone was metallic. Mr. Brown, do you not acknowledge the authenticity of this video? Kody stuttered. I don't recall saying it like that. Christine snapped back. Oh, you remember. You just didn't think anyone else would. The judge raised his gavel and issued a suspension of all family trust access, an emergency review of Mary's legal guardianship status, a freeze on TLC payments pending audit. Mary closed her eyes. A single tear rolled down, but her lips curled into the faintest smile, not joy, validation. Christine rose with the poise of someone who has waited a lifetime to speak. You painted us as a broken family. But we weren't broken until you broke us. You said you wanted unity. What you really wanted was silence. And guess what? She spun to face Kody, her voice steel. We're done being quiet. She glanced at Mary. You are not alone anymore. The courtroom did not applaud. It breathed again. Delia steps down from the stand, shaking visibly. Outdoors, a cluster of reporters yell questions. She doesn't say a word, but her silence is the greatest statement of all. Robyn returned to her own house, falls over in her living room, weeping into Kody's old sweatshirt. The camera glances at a flicker of paperwork on the coffee table. TLC contracts. Divorce papers, who knows? Yet Chanel drives in silence, Ben alongside her, no music, no words. Just the hum of tires on asphalt and a life going forward. Mary, who is on the steps of the courthouse, finally gets out her phone. Undefined, she texts just one. Thank you, to whom we never see. In a family founded on public trust and private cracks, truth finally gained its voice. And it didn't whisper, it roared. When Mary held that DNA file, she wasn't reclaiming her story. She was blowing wide the lie that kept them together. Love didn't destroy this family. Control did, and sometimes the only way to save yourself is to testify.